Hey guys, and welcome to the Brooklyn Botanicals, a college football 27 Team Builder Dynasty. In this episode, we're going to be going through the very first year of the program, so that's going to be very exciting to undertake. And of course, with college football 27, there's a lot new, so a lot of things to go over before we get into the games this year. We got our blueprint to go over, the scouting board that we have initially, then we have our schedule that we're going to be facing. We're going to meet our coach, Cherry Blossom, and then we're going to meet the team, of course. And then after all that's done, we're going to see what the Brooklyn Botanicals can do on the field. As for the settings for this dynasty, we're going to be on Heisman difficulty, and then only the CPU coaches can get fired, so Cherry Blossom's going to ride out his days with the Brooklyn Botanicals. On the XP speed setting, we're going to be on casual, just trying to get the fastest we can to progress our guy Cherry Blossom, and after all the debate, this is what we got as the highest one, so it's what we're going to do. Then we're going to have injuries on, and then we're going to have this penalty percentage at 25 for the progression XP. And then going down here, we're going to be playing 12-minute quarters with an accelerated clock. That brings us to 20 seconds. And this year, I'm going to do coach mode. So last time, it was pretty much just the CPU running things, and I would step into games if necessary. But for this dynasty, I'm just going to go full coach mode. I'm not going to step into the games at all. Just going to be calling the plays, and hopefully the players can execute out there. And then we're going to have these settings here, and then I'm going to take off that pre-play cutoff thing just to try to minimize that so I can make adjustments and things like that without having to worry about the time. And then the biggest thing is going to be these wear and tear sliders, all the way down to 25 for some things and 30 for others. Just wear and tear is really crazy, so just trying to have it have an impact but not just take over everything. Then pretty much everything else is going to be on regular settings, except the transfers per team is going to be at 15, just cutting it a half from 30, and that's what I did with the Piranhas. That seemed to work pretty well, so that's what we're going to stick with. And then we're going to also be having the manual progression, so I'm going to be doing that in the off season as well. And I think that's pretty much it for the settings. Looking at our Dynasty blueprint, we don't really have much working for us here right now as we're starting from the very bottom as a program. We only have 410 total points, and for our staff, we only have our OC and DC. No support staff yet, just want to save the points that we can for recruiting and all that. And then for the facilities, we're starting at the very bottom with a basic facility. And then over here, we have our recruiting NIL that we'll get into once we get to that stage of recruiting. And then for the roster NIL, we only have a few points here. And I thought it was pretty funny that the only NIL we had on the roster was for our quarterbacks. Now we're going to meet the man who's going to be in charge of this program with head coach Cherry Blossom. He was a manager at the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens who are funding this whole project, and they were going to hire within ranks, and he's got that managerial experience, so figured they might as well give him the shot at it. And he likes to run the spread, and he has an emphasis on the 4-3, but that multiple is doing a lot of work there, as he also likes to run 3-3-5 sets and nickel and different things, so I think he's going to bring a lot to the table for the Botanicals. Taking a look at the expectations for Cherry Blossom from the higher-ups at the Brooklyn Botanical Gardens, they want him to be ranked in the top 25 in the next 5 seasons. They want at least 10 turnovers on defense this year, and they want the offense to average at least 20 points per game this year. With the options available for us for Coach Cherry Blossom, we're going to go down the recruiter path with him. Using a little pre-order bonus, we're going to go into this recruiter tab and get tier 1 on all these positions for us. We wanted to have it across the offense and the defensive positions. We're going to skip the kickers for right now just because we don't really have to focus on them. We're really focused on our main positions. As you can see, the Brooklyn Botanicals are not the highest overall team in the world, as we're a 54 overall with a 54 offense and a 56 defense. Our best player is Mike linebacker Dalton Marcock, and he's one of 4 players who are a 70 true overall, and with a tactician boost, he's a 72. As for the other 70 overalls, we got punter Alan Wadsworth, and we got running back Casey Hutton, and then at kicker, we have Larry O'Donnell. At quarterback for us this year will be quarterback Alex Meeks, and then at running back, of course, will be Casey Hutton. At fullback is going to be Derek Gentry. Wide receiver will be Kona Cheek, and he also will be joined by Brian Smith and Cam Prozinski. At tight end will be Parker Samuel. Then left tackle Brooks Hawkinson. At left guard Fatu Siao, and then center Jeremiah Gammon. On the right side will be Cooper Bush at guard, and at tackle will be Craig Gore. On the edges for our defense will be Wes Henningsen, and on the other side will be Charlie Turner. At the defensive tackle spots will be Alex Vierling and Donnie Holmberg, along with Corbin Hacker. And then for Sam linebacker, Reed Bergstrom. The man in the middle, of course, is Dalton Marcuck. And then on the other outside linebacker spot will be Taylor Graves. Then at cornerback will be Caleb Myers, Soma Alao, and Joey Poljan. And then at free safety will be Ben Parker. Strong safety will be A.J. DeVoe. And then we also met our kicker and punter with Larry O'Donnell and Alan Wadsworth. Before we get into the recruiting board, just want to point out our school grades that we're working with. You got playing style and proximity to home, just depending on the players and the positions. But for an F grade, we got championship contender, makes sense. We're just starting out. Then you got F program tradition, and F on brand exposure, and then an F for stadium atmosphere, campus lifestyle, academic prestige, and athletic facilities. So at least we can actually work on the athletic facilities as we go. Then we got a C- for conference prestige, and maybe you're thinking, oh, that's not too bad, but it is the worst in the country with us being in the MAC. Then we got a D for coach stability and another D for coach prestige. On our initial recruiting board, we only have 8 players on it with our limited resources, just trying to maximize what we can do, but we did find a couple of gems with tight end Taj Boyette at 81 speed and acceleration and a 251-pound frame. Then you got strong safety Cameron Ekanem. He's got 85 speed and 88 acceleration and that bronze winning time ability. Then we got a couple of quarterbacks with Storm Cooks at 92 throw power, 86 speed, and we also have DeMarcus Stock. He's got 93 throw power and 81 speed. He's also got that bronze natural ability and silver field general. Ended up cutting a couple of guys off that initial recruiting board, so we got 6 players now, and we still got Taj Boyette. Hopefully we can get into his top 5 soon. And for Cameron Ekanem, we're already in his top 5, so see if we can keep that up. Then for the quarterbacks, we're still battling with a couple of teams here, so we'll see what happens there. And these guys down here, Arizona State's really pulling away, so we'll see what happens there. But I put a few extra points into them to see what happens. For our schedule this year, we're going to open up with an FCS team just trying to get a win on the board, and then we're going to have Florida International, then a couple of rivalry games with Penn State and Syracuse. Then we're going to open up MAC conference play with Western Michigan. Then we're going to have Toledo and UMass, and then Bowling Green. Then we have a bye week. Then it's Miami, Ohio time, and then Ball State, Central Michigan, and then we're going to close the year against Akron. I just wanted to make a note here for the Brooklyn Botanicals dynasty that I originally had it planned as another 30-year dynasty like the Petey Town Piranhas were, but ultimately I decided against doing that. We're just going to go until we win our first national championship as a program. Still think it makes for a nice story going from the bottom to the top of the college football world, and maybe do some other video ideas in the future with the game and everything. And I also think it keeps the Piranhas pretty unique as being the 30-year dynasty on the channel, but that's just where we're going here with the Botanicals, and I wanted to be upfront about that. For the first time in Brooklyn Botanicals history, we're going to take the field at our home stadium, Flower Field, and it's a night game, so we got our light skate uniforms going with the blackout in the crowd, so very exciting stuff there, and we're ready to take the field. And for the first time, the kick is underway here for the Brooklyn Botanicals as we kick it off to FCS, and he's going to return it out there. We're going to be on defense first. On the first play from scrimmage, it's going to be a tackle for a loss by our guy Wes Henningsen. And FCS is going to break free with their quarterback here on a big game, and we're finally going to bring him down at the 46-yard line. And their quarterback is going to break another tackle of our guy, and they're going to have another first down. On the first third down that our defense is facing, it's going to be 3rd and 2. They're going to go with a handoff right up the middle to their fullback. He's going to get a chunk gain, a broken tackle, and get it to our 11. A nice option fake. He's going to get it out to his man, but that is going to be a nice TFL by our guy out there. The TFL helps make it 3rd down and 12 here for FCS. Their quarterback is going to drop back, survey the landscape, step up, throw a dot, and it is going to be caught for the touchdown by FCS, and that's going to be the first deficit that we're going to face as a program. The first play for the Botanicals on offense is going to be a handoff up the middle to Casey Hutton for a couple of yards. And that is going to be a 1st down for the Piranhas, our first down out to Parker. And the drag underneath is going to work out there for the Piranhas for another 1st down to Brian Smith. And it's going to be Parker again, and he's going to get us into the red zone here to their 6-yard line. Nice throw from Alex Meeks. On 3rd down and goal for the Botanicals, it's going to be from the 5-yard line. And we're going to drop back with Alex Meeks. He throws one, and it is off the hands of Parker Samuels. On 4th down and goal, we're going to go with it with the Botanicals. Alex Meeks dropping back, throwing it out to our guy Casey Hutton in the flat, and it's going to be Casey Hutton scoring the first touchdown of the Botanicals in their history to tie the game up. And that is going to be picked off by FCS off that bounce, and it's going to be a touchdown for them. And they're going to take the lead 14-7. Alex Meeks trying to force it in there, just bounces off our hands. And that's going to give FCS the lead. And just making a note here, pretty much from now on, just going to focus on highlights and like touchdowns and scoring, turnovers, sacks, things like that. A lot of what I did with the PD Town Piranhas, but that was definitely a negative highlight for us there. And here's going to be a sack for FCS as our guys just couldn't get separation and they had good coverage on that one. Immediately after the sack, it's going to be a field goal attempt for our guys as Larry O'Donnell comes out to try to attempt the 50-yarder. And Larry is going to send this one up. Looks good from here, and it is good to make it 14-10. And we are going to get the first interception in Brooklyn Botanicals history there, and it's by our defensive tackle. What a play there. We're able to get the hit on the quarterback to force it up, and we come away with that turnover, and we're going to be at their 31-yard line. It's going to be Donnie Holmberg bringing that one in, so nice job, Donnie. And that's going to be another interception for FCS where we had our guy underneath, but Alex Meeks tried to go behind him, and that's where the coverage was. So after our fun interception, they're going to get one right back on us. And we're going to have a field goal here for FCS, and they're going to extend their lead to 17-10. A little too far out for my taste to try this 4th and 7 for the Botanicals, so we're going to go with our field goal attempt here for Larry, and he's going to knock it straight on through to make it 17-13. And we are going to get free off that mid-blitz for a sack by Wes Henningsen to stop this drive. Big play here for the Brooklyn Botanicals, 4th and goal from the 3-yard line. Just been very difficult to punch it in from this distance. And it's going to be floated up and incomplete to Parker, and we're going to be denied again. 3rd down and inches for the Botanicals. We're going to be on a running play here for Casey, and it is not going to be blocked well as they're going to push us back. After getting pushed back on 3rd down at the 2-minute warning here, it's going to be 4th down and 2 for the Botanicals, going 5 wide. Alex Meeks going to drop back, throw it quickly, and it's going to be incomplete, and they're going to turn us over on downs. On the option play, it's going to be a safety for the Botanicals. What a play by the defense, and it's going to be 17-15. Incredible play because now that sets up the opportunity for us to just have to hit a field goal to get this win. Casey Hutton is going to bounce off the center there, and Casey's going to get us the first down and more to get us near midfield. And Parker Samuels is going to take this one off that flat play, and now we're in good field goal position, and FCS is going to have to start taking some timeouts. And that is going to be a first down for the Botanicals, and FCS has run out of their timeouts, so we're just going to let this clock run down. Larry O'Donnell is going to come on here for the field goal attempt, a 32-yarder, and it's pretty straight on here. Larry is going to put this one up, and it is through, and the Brooklyn Botanicals have the first victory in program history, 18-17 over FCS East. And we're going to get this outro here now, a little delayed, but it's going to show the replay again. I thought it was going to show us the outro of the game, but now we just got a slow-mo, and now we get nothing, but we do get the win, so that's all that matters. In the first game of our program's history, Alex Meeks passed for 295 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and he was sacked once. On the ground, Casey Hutton with a huge day, 34 carries and 173 yards. For receiving, Parker Samuel had 13 for 124. Then our guy Kona Cheek, 6 for 58. And then we have Casey Hutton, 4 for 30, and the first touchdown in Piranha's history. And then moving over to defense, you got Soma Alawa with our 7 tackles to lead us, and also 2 for a loss. For sacks, we got 1 from Wes, and he got our first sack in program history. And the first interception is going to be Donnie Holmberg, of course, of all players, a defensive tackle, getting this one. And then for kicking, Larry O'Donnell, he was 3 for 3 with a long of 50, and of course that game winner. We got to shout out Casey Hutton for being the MAC Offensive Player of the Week. Unfortunately, after our first game, a couple of guys have decided to lock us out with quarterback Storm Cooks and left tackle Oscar Duck. Looking at Florida International, they're 0-2 on the year, and they have a 69 team overall. Nice. And their key players are right edge Kenton Simmons. And then on offense, they got Anthony Carey, who's an 82 overall. And then for their quarterback, it's going to be J.J. Cole, a 75 overall pocket passer. And that is going to be a sack for Florida International on our first drive, and that's going to close this drive out. And we cannot get out there as they got their blockers lined up for that bubble screen touchdown, and Florida International is going to go up 7-0. And FIU has burnt us deep there, and we had jumped offside, so that's not going to matter as FIU is going to go up 2 scores. And that's going to be another sack for FIU. We had our guy underneath, but our guy just couldn't find him. And it's going to be Casey Hutton getting this carry, and he's going to fight through to get us on the board here and make it 14-7. Nice physical run there. And here's another sack for FIU after our defense got a nice stop, and now we're on 3rd and long. And we're going to bring the blitz, and it's going to work out for us as we get the sack there. Beautiful play by the defense after some struggles on the first couple of possessions. They've really bounced back to get a couple of stops here. And here's another sack for FIU. Our offensive line really having some struggles early on in this game. Was a 3rd and long, so we had to let things develop, but it is what it is. And that is just a crazy play there. Their running back just trying to jump for it. We stopped him initially, but he was able to get himself in with a highly athletic play, and they retake a 2-score lead. And there's another sack for FIU. We had a guy coming on a crosser, but Alex Meeks did not find him. And FIU is going to go right up the middle again, and they are going to get another touchdown to extend their lead to 28-7. And tried to keep our guy Casey Hutton in there to block, but it just did not work anyway as we give up yet another sack in this one. And right up the middle again, they're just going to gash us to make it 35-7. FIU just taking control of this one. Another sack for FIU. We had our guys back there trying to protect, but FIU has just been absolutely dominating up front. And Dalton Marcock is going to get in there on the blitz right up the middle, and we get our second sack of the day. And yet another sack for FIU. That's going to be their 8th in this ball game. Oh my goodness, another sack and a fumble there. Our offensive lineman is going to get it, but he's going to slip on down. And right up the middle again, just kind of deja vu all day long with these touchdown carries. And FIU is going to take the 42-7 lead, and that'll be all from this game. That will be your final score, as it's 42-7 here. FIU getting the blowout victory on us. Just really couldn't stop the run, as you could see here. And our offensive line just got absolutely demolished when we tried throwing the ball. So just a lot of different things contributing to this failure of a game, pretty much. The stats really show the story of the ineptitude today for the Brooklyn Botanicals, as we had 98 yards from Alex Meeks passing the ball, and then on the ground, little bright spot here with Casey Hutton getting 18 carries, 78 yards, and our lone touchdown. Then for receiving, Casey led us with 5 for 29. And then on defense, we had 11 tackles from Dalton Marcock and 10 from Caleb Myers. And for sacks, another little bright spot, 2 today, one by Dalton and another one by A.J. DeVoe. Just a small adjustment I'm going to make on the settings. I'm going to put the minimum play clock time at 15 seconds just to have a few less plays, because it does take quite a while to record with me playing all the plays and calling all the plays and everything, so maybe that can reduce it just a little bit. We are going to be down to our backup center, as our guy Jeremiah Gammon has a dislocated elbow, so he'll be out for the next 11 weeks. Replacing Jeremiah will be another Jeremiah, with Jeremiah McGloster at center. In our next game, we'll be taking on the Penn State Nittany Lions with their 2-0 record and number 12 ranking, and they are 30 overalls above us at 84, and their best player here is strong safety Marcus Neal Jr. Then on offense, they got halfback Carson Hansen, so a couple of guys to really keep an eye out on, and then they also have transfer Rocco Becht at quarterback. It is a rivalry game with us and Penn State, and this is the first time we're meeting, of course, so we'll see how it goes. And on the first pass attempt of the game, we are going to be taken down on a sack by Penn State. And we get it out there to Brian Smith, and Brian Smith is in the end zone on a very impressive first drive for the Brooklyn Botanicals here at Happy Valley, as we take the 7-0 lead over Penn State. And they're going to get that RPO out there, just didn't have the numbers to contain them, and Penn State is going to tie it up. Another solid drive for the offense, but we're going to settle for the field goal attempt here with our guy Larry, and Larry is going to sneak it through that left upright, and we retake the lead at 10-7. And we leave their running back wide open, and it's going to be Carson Hansen into the end zone for Penn State, and they're going to have their first lead of the day, making it 14-10. And here's a sack for Penn State with just over a minute left here in the first half. And there's a sack for Penn State, trying to get some slants out there, but just couldn't find the opening. And here's a sack, and there's a fumble on the play, and we're going to pick that one up. It's going to be A.J. DeVoe, and we are going to get the touchdown on that fumble return and take the lead here in Happy Valley. What a play by the defense to make it 17-14. Just absolutely mind-boggling right now. Showing a lot of heart in this game. Looks like Alex Vierling was on the sack. And Addison Younger is going to take this one right up the middle for the Botanicals. Our defense was able to get a third down stop on the last drive, and our offense took that momentum, and we're going to be up 24-14 on Penn State in Happy Valley. What an effort from the Botanicals. And here's Addison Younger on a big run, and he is probably going to get caught, but we are going to get this huge run into their red zone, really trying to ice this game now. Casey Hutton got banged up, and Addison Younger has just been absolutely wonderful for us as a backup. And Derek Gentry, the fullback, is going to take this one right up the middle, and the Botanicals take advantage of that big Addison Younger run and punch it in here to make it a 3-score game, 31-14. And Penn State is going to break a tackle there, and they are going to bring this one all the way to the house to make it 31-21. Our offense was able to recover the onside kick for Penn State. Weren't quite able to run out the rest of the clock here, but we are setting up our guy Larry for a field goal attempt as the clock winds down, just waiting for those seconds to tick off. And here comes Larry with the field goal attempt, and he is going to put it right down the middle to make it 34-21. Penn State hurrying to the line, but they're not going to get another snap off, and the Brooklyn Botanicals have their first signature win in program history as we come into Happy Valley and upset the number 12 ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Just absolutely incredible effort here from the Botanicals. Nobody believed in them, and they proved everybody wrong, and they have made their mark on the college football world. Alex Meeks didn't have huge numbers today, but he managed the game perfectly as he had 146 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions. And on the running game, Addison Younger, just what more can you say? Incredible game for him, 22 carries, 127 yards, and a touchdown. Casey Hutton had 9 for 47 before going out. Then Derek Gentry had 4 for 24 and a touchdown. And for receiving, Parker Samuel led us. He had 6 catches for 55 yards. Brian Smith, 5 for 49 and a touchdown. And then for our defense, Dalton Markuck with 8 tackles. For sacks, we got 1 with Alex Vierling. That was the huge strip sack that we got returned for a touchdown. And that was done by our guy, A.J. DeVoe. Just the biggest play of the game and really the biggest play in program history so far. Just absolutely incredible stuff there. Then for our kicking game, Larry O'Donnell came out. He was 2 for 2 with a long of 38. Had to make the tough decision to give a week off to Casey Hutton. He just had some wear and tear, and if we try to do a limited practice, it would be a high risk of injury, so just didn't want to risk that and wanted him to rest up. It's going to be another rivalry game, this time against Syracuse with their 1-2 record and 74 team overall, and their headliners are a couple of cornerbacks with Chris Peel and Demetrius Samuel Jr., and then they have on offense Ahmad Miller at halfback, and they also have Steve Angeli at quarterback. And we are going to get that interception. They're trying to hit their man on a little in route, and we just cut that one off. Beautiful job by the defense. And it's going to be Addison Younger right up the middle at the last second in this first quarter. The Botanicals are going to be the first one to strike to make it 7-0. And we are going to chase down Steve Angeli with a sack. It's going to be Taylor Graves on that one. And that is going to be a sack for Syracuse. Alex Meeks just kind of running around for his life there. And the run commit is not going to work for us as they get that option out there. We try to keep him out, but Ahmad Miller is going to fight his way through to tie this one up. And that is going to be considered a touchdown for Syracuse. I might take a look at that, but then again, it's just so close that I think they're going to get it anyway, but might just challenge it just to give us another opportunity. Of course, they give us the worst angle possible, but I think it still proves that he might have gotten over. His knee is down, though, so we'll see what happens on the field. And they're going to consider it a touchdown, so a bit of a waste of a challenge there, but just wanted to try it out. And we are going to go right up the middle, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Brooklyn Botanicals as we tie this one up. Our guy Addison Younger feeling a little dizzy, feeling a little wear and tear there, so our guy behind him makes that score. Glenn Goodspeed. And that's going to be intercepted by Syracuse, trying to be aggressive on fourth down near midfield, and it's going to backfire on us, and Syracuse is going to have it on our side of the 50. After our interception from Alex Meeks, Syracuse moved it a little bit to get into field goal range, a 52-yard attempt, and their man is going to send it through, and he is going to sneak it through that upright, and Syracuse takes the 17-14 lead. And Alex Meeks just not really knowing what he's doing there in the pocket as he's going to get taken down for the sack. On fourth down, the Botanicals are going to go for it here. Alex Meeks throwing it, and it is going to be to a very well-covered guy in Parker Samuel, and Syracuse is going to have another interception. Their man is able to get some separation on the sideline on that third down, had a chance to hold him to a field goal, but nothing doing there for our defense. And despite the run commit again, it's going to be Syracuse scoring with their guy Ahmad getting in again, and that's probably going to result in the separation that takes us out of this game. We're able to get it downfield, and I'm just going to line us up for the field goal to try to get it within one possession, and our guy Larry makes it to make it 24-17. Going for the onside kick here, our guy is going to pop this up, and it's going to be recovered easily by Syracuse. And they are going to fight it. It's going to be a fumble on the play, but Syracuse is going to recover it. Had a chance there, but the chance falls by the wayside. Syracuse is going to be able to kneel on it here and walk away with a 24-17 victory over us, as Steve Angeli does just that. And we fought hard in this game, but a couple of interceptions from Alex Meeks on plays where we were trying to be aggressive are really what cost us here, and Syracuse was able to take advantage of the war for New York is going to go to Syracuse this time, so brought down to earth a little bit after that big win against Penn State. Tough game for our guy Alex Meeks as he had 174 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions, and he was sacked twice. For our running game, Addison Younger had 18 for 60 and a touchdown, Glenn Goodspeed 11 for 54 and a touchdown, and even our fourth string guy got involved with Brendan Coffey, going for 4 for 32. For receiving, Brian Smith had 7 for 44, Kona Cheek 4 for 44, and then for defense, we had Dalton Marcock leading us in tackles. He had 8, along with Mike Urlacher. And for sacks, we had 1 from Taylor Graves, and that early interception from Soma Ilawa. And then for kicking, Larry O'Donnell had 1 for 1 with a 51-yarder. Quick update for recruiting. Cameron Ekanem is in his top 3 stage, and we're trailing Michigan State for him right now. So I boosted up his NIL 10 points to 60, so we'll see if that has any effect. We have our MAC conference opener now against the Western Michigan Broncos. They're also 2-2 on the year with a 69 team overall, and their best player is their halfback Jalen Buckley at 86 overall, 88 with a tactician boost, and their quarterback is Brock Lowry. And we're going to find our guy in the end zone, our backup tight end this time around, as we drive down the field on our first drive and get the points. And that's going to be an easy touchdown for Western Michigan as they just blew us off the line with no resistance, and they're going to tie the game up. And this is going to be a nice strike from Alex Meeks into the hands of Brian Smith, and we got that nice chunk of yards on that touchdown, and the Botanicals will retake the lead 14-7. And that is going to be an easy touchdown, a swing pass out to their running back, and Western Michigan draws even once again. And Western Michigan's going to get a man free, and he is in the end zone. So after we finally get stopped on offense, Western Michigan's offense just keeps on rolling to make it 21-14. And we're going to get a sack here. Nice job by the Botanicals and Donnie Holmberg to force this field goal attempt. After the sack, Western Michigan comes on for this short field goal. Almost get a block in there, but they're able to knock it through to make it 24-14. After the defenses trade some stops, the Western Michigan Broncos are setting up another field goal attempt here to go up to 2 touchdowns, and they're going to do just that and make it 27-14. And that's going to be a sack. Tried a little play action power read there, and it did not go well. We're going to respond to Western Michigan's field goal attempt with one of our own, and Larry O'Donnell's going to put that through to make it 27-17. And we come out in a goal line defense against Pistol, and it still doesn't matter as they get a wide open lane into the end zone, and Western Michigan will take the 34-17 lead. And here's a sack for Western Michigan. Alex Meeks going down on a 7-yard loss. And that's going to be intercepted by Western Michigan. Just desperation mode on 4th down, trying to do something, and that's going to result in a turnover. And we're going to get the sack here, a 3-yard loss on the play as Charlie Turner and friends get that. And another sack for Alex Meeks as he's going down for the 3rd time today. And Parker Samuel is going to get a last-second touchdown here. Not that it's going to matter for the result of the game, but it does bring us a little closer at 34-24. And to add insult to injury, Western Michigan is going to have a kick return at the last second here and just make this score look even worse at 41-24. And that's how this game is going to end. It's going to be 40-24 actually. They didn't kick the extra point after that kick return, but just a day where our defense couldn't really do much against Western Michigan's offense. The offense for us had a pretty decent day, but just couldn't really do much after we had a couple of quick scores on our first 2 possessions, and that provided the difference in this one. In the loss, Alex Meeks had 308 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception, and he was sacked 3 times. And then for our running game, Casey Hutton had 20 for 68. On the receiving end, Brian Smith had a pretty decent day, 5 catches, 110 yards, and 1 touchdown. Parker Samuel, 8 for 75 and a touchdown. Then you got Kona Cheek with 6 for 54, and then CJ James, 4 for 17 and a touchdown. Then for our defense, we were led in tackles by Dalton Marcock again. Then for sacks, we had 1. It was Donnie Holmberg. And we also had half a sack each for Charlie Turner and Wes Henningsen. So we actually had 2, just miscounted there. And then for our kicking game, Larry O'Donnell, he hit his only attempt today for a 25-yarder. Cameron Eckenem has verbally committed to Michigan State, so I decided to put even more NIL into him. We added 20 to make it 80 for him, so we'll see if that helps at all. Next up for the Botanicals, it's going to be the Toledo Rockets with a 3-2 record and a 67 team overall, and Andrew Zock is their best player at edge, and at halfback they have Corey Smith, who's got 93 speed, 96 acceleration, so definitely a dangerous guy, and at quarterback they have John Allen Richter. And the blocking lines up very nicely for Casey Hutton as we get into the end zone for the first points of the game. And Toledo's running back is in there, a little shiftiness on him there to get into the end zone, and Toledo has tied it up. And here's a sack for Toledo. Our guys got a little tied up there as they were running their route, so that disrupted things. Our offense is able to drive it down the field, but we're going to settle for a field goal attempt by Larry, and he's going to sneak it through, and the Piranhas retake the lead at 10-7. And their quarterback is going to keep that one, and it's going to be another touchdown for Toledo as they're going to make it 14-10. And that's going to be a touchdown by Toledo, throwing that one right over our defender's head into his receiver's hands, and they're going to extend it to 21-10. And that's going to be a sack for Toledo as we couldn't get it out in time. And Corey Smith is going to get into the end zone again for the Rockets as they're starting to separate here to make it 28-10. And here's another sack for Toledo as that's the third time they've gotten to us. And another sack as it's going to be a fumble for Alex Meeks. I don't know why they didn't let that continue, but I guess that works out in our favor, but it's still a turnover. After the fumble, it's going to be a field goal attempt here for Toledo, and it's going to be up, and he is going to put that through to make it 31-10. Another sack for Toledo as we try to play action, and they're going to get in there for the fifth time. And that was just an errant pass by our guy Alex Meeks, and Toledo's going to get the interception, so 2 straight drives with turnovers, and they're set up at our 15. And Corey Smith in there once again for Toledo, capitalizing on our turnover, and it'll be 38-10. This one ends up being 43-10 in favor of Toledo. Just really couldn't do anything after we were up 10-7. They rattled off a whole bunch of points and just demoralized us in this one. Alex Meeks with a subpar day today, 136 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception, and he was sacked 5 times, including a lost fumble for 2 turnovers. Casey Hutton had 19 carries, 131 yards, and 1 touchdown. For receiving, Brian Smith had 4 for 41. On defense, we were led in tackles by Dalton Marcook. He also had 3 for a loss. And for sacks, we didn't have any today. And for field goal kicking, Larry O'Donnell came on and hit his only field goal for 23 yards. The increase in NIL for Cameron Ekanem did not work out as he's hard committed to Michigan State, so we're just going to have to move on from him. And as for the rest of the board, we have a bunch of 2-stars on here now, just seeing who we can get without having to spend any more NIL. Our offensive line continues to take hits as our right tackle, Brooks Hawkinson, is injured for the rest of the year with a broken ankle. We're going to take on another struggling team here with the 1-5 UMass Minutemen with their 67 team overall. Their best player is Will linebacker Tyler Martin, and they also have wide receiver Joseph Griffin Jr., and then for their quarterback, they have William Watson III. And we're going to get a sack here off that RPO. Charlie Turner getting that one. And that's going to be a touchdown for UMass on the slant. Try to commit inside off the press, but apparently that wasn't enough. And UMass is going to take the 7-0 lead. And that's going to be picked off by UMass, trying to do a little aggressive on 4th down, and he is going to get caught by Casey Hutton, but not before he gets to the 10. The defense is able to hold UMass to a field goal attempt here, and their man is going to line it up and put it through to make it 10-0. And that's going to be another interception, this time not really Alex Meeks' fault, as it tipped off our receiver's hands right into the hands of the UMass defender. And that's going to be a sack for the Piranhas as Charlie Turner's in there again. Again, some pretty good work by the defense to keep UMass out of the end zone, as it's going to be another field goal attempt, and their man puts it through again to make it 13-0. And we're going to get our man Chad Brzezinski into the end zone here. Nice drag route, and he was able to find the space on that catch out after the run after the catch, excuse me. And it's going to be 13-7, or Cam Brzezinski, excuse me. UMass gets it very deep into our territory, but our defense is able to hold them out of the end zone again, and their kicker is going to take that sharp angle kick and put it through to make it 16-7. And here's another sack, and it's going to be a fumble, and Alex Meeks is able to recover it. Well, if you can believe it, the Botanicals had 3 straight Hail Mary attempts and 3 straight pass interference penalties from UMass to put us in position for a field goal attempt. So we're going to see if Larry can take advantage, and he will, to make it 16-10. So a little bit of good fortune going our way there. And that screen is going to be taken to the house by UMass. Our guys just over-pursued, and he took advantage, and they are going to go up 2 scores. And another sack as UMass is going to bring down Alex Meeks. And we're going to get a sack of our own now. After a couple from UMass earlier in the game, we're going to get a 3rd one today. It's going to be Derek Gentry diving and getting hit hard, but Derek Gentry is going to be in the end zone for the touchdown, and we're going to crawl back within 1 possession, making it 23-17. And he is going to roll right into a sack there, a 5-yard loss on the play as Wes Henningsen gets in there. And we are going to get a sack here. It's going to be a 4-yard loss. Unfortunately, our offense couldn't do anything, even though our defense got that TFL. The drive before, our offense just got stopped before we can get anything going, and we're going to walk out of here with a 23-17 loss to UMass. Alex Meeks on the day had 186 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions, and he was sacked twice. And then for our running game, Casey Hutton had 26 carries and 89 yards. And then Derek Gentry had the short 3-yard touchdown run. On the receiving end, Cam Prozinski, 2 for 45 and a touchdown. And then for our defense, we had A.J. DeVoe with 10 tackles. On the sacks, we had 2 from Charlie Turner and 1 each for Wes Henningsen and Alex Vierling. And then for our kicking game, Larry O'Donnell had 1 attempt. He made it for 46 yards. The 64 overall Bowling Green Falcons are 3-4 on the year, and they are our next opponent. And their best player, Austin Dendy, at halfback is injured, so we won't have to deal with him. At right edge, they got Miles Bradley. And then for quarterback, they have Austin Novosad. And we are going to have that one stick to our receiver's hands. A guy all over him, but he still manages to haul it in. It's going to be Cam Prozinski. And they are going to go right up the middle on us, trying a little run defense, but they went right into the gap that was open, and it's going to be 7-7. And that's going to be a sack for Bowling Green, trying an RPO play there to no avail. And here's a sack now for the Botanicals as we get back there for a 2-yard loss. And they send the blitz, and we are going to get sacked here, trying to make something happen, try to audible out of our run play, but they had stacked the box, and I thought the pass would work, but just did not in this instance. Larry O'Donnell on for the field goal after that sack, and Larry is going to put this one right through the middle, and we're going to go up 10-7. And Bowling Green's running back is going to get free again, and this time he had to do a little more work for it, and he broke some tackles and got into the end zone to make it 14-10. And it's going to be the read option, and their quarterback is going to read it correctly and get into the end zone to make it 21-10. And here's another sack for Bowling Green, a 7-yard loss on this one. And their running back is gone again as the blocking lines up perfectly once again for them, and it's going to be 28-10. And our receivers got tied up trying to run their routes, and Bowling Green is going to have their 4th sack. And it's going to be another touchdown for Bowling Green, another easy one at that, and it's going to be 35-10. And would you look at that, another sack for Bowling Green. Just absolutely terrible up front today for us. Just trying to get anything positive here for the Botanicals as we go for another field goal attempt from Larry. And he is going to just sneak that through. It's off the post, but thankfully goes in, and it'll be 35-13. Our defense manages to keep them out of the end zone this time, but they'll still have an opportunity for points, and they will take advantage to make it 38-13. And Cam Prozinski is going to get a big gain here. See if they can catch him. It doesn't look like it, and Cam Prozinski is in the end zone. Had a nice little motion play there. That sets up 2 double screens for us. Really double screens. I don't know why I said 2. That's kind of redundant, but it is what it is as we get this big play. Cam Prozinski in the end zone again. 38-20 is the final here against Bowling Green as we extend our losing streak to 5 games, and we're just searching for any way we can to get a win. All things considered, Alex Meeks had a pretty good day out there with 278 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no interceptions, but the problem was he was sacked 5 times. Then for our running game, the fullback Derek Gentry led us. He had 6 carries and 45 yards. Addison Younger, 11 for 43. For receiving, Cam Brzezinski was definitely a bright spot. 8 catches, 129 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Then for our defense, we were led in tackles by A.J. DeVoe with 9. For sacks, we got 1 with Donnie Holmberg. And then for our kicking game, Larry O'Donnell was 2 for 2 with a long of 48. We have our first verbal commit with tight end Taj Boyette, but of course that doesn't mean we've signed him, so still got some work to do here. For our next opponent, the Miami, Ohio Redhawks, they have a 71 team overall with a 3-5 record. Their best player is Will linebacker Blaine Myrick. At right tackle, they have Evan Malcor, who's injured. Their left tackle is Eric Smith. And then for quarterback, they have Thomas Gotkowski, and he's a 71 overall. Their halfback is Cade Iacomelli, and he's got that 87 speed, so we'll see what we can do here. And that's going to be a pick in the flat for Miami, Ohio on the first possession, and they got that early 7-0 lead. Wish we had gone to Casey Hutton on that play, but Alex Meeks had other ideas. And here's a sack on Alex Meeks. It's going to be Bree Joby from Miami, Ohio. And we're going to get a big one to Cam Brzezinski. They sent a big blitz, and we're able to get it out of there. And Cam Brzezinski has another big gain on a touchdown to tie up this game. And right up the middle, Miami, Ohio is going to run against our 4-4 front like it's not even there, and they're going to take the lead again. And here's a sack on Alex Meeks, a play we were trying to get the ball out quick, but nobody got open in time. And we're going to throw it right to their linebacker, just trying to be aggressive on 4th down, and that aggressiveness is going to backfire. Just trying to make something happen, but it's just not happening here. And we are going to chase him down for the sack. A nice little blitz there off the cornerback, or the safety really. That was A.J. DeVoe with it, so brought him in for that blitz, and he got the sack. And trying to float one to the end zone, Alex Meeks, and it's going to be intercepted in the end zone. Just not a play we needed there. And just a beautifully thrown ball there, and he had to get up there and get it, and he did to make that touchdown. And Miami, Ohio's up 2 scores. And there's a sack for Miami, Ohio, and that's going to put us on 4th down with the time winding down. We're just going to set up for a field goal attempt at the end of the half. Larry O'Donnell comes on for that try here, and he is going to send this one up, and it's straight on through to make it 21-10. And Alex Meeks is going to throw another interception despite some really good protection from the O-line, and Casey Hutton is going to run him down. 3rd straight possession with a field goal attempt for Miami, Ohio, and this time their guy is going to put it through to make it 24-10. Another interception for Alex Meeks on a throw that just shouldn't have been made. The defender just read that like a book. Another drive where our defense is forcing a field goal attempt on Miami, Ohio, and their guy sends it up again, and he's going to put this one through as well to make it 27-10. And here's a sack on our guy. Noah Hicks decided to bench Alex Meeks and bring in the freshman who has impact Dev to see what he can do. And here's another sack for Miami, Ohio. Noah Hicks only survived a couple of plays. He'll return soon, but our guy Colby McRae was out there and he gets sacked immediately. Very disappointing result here as we go down 27-10 to Miami, Ohio, and that is going to seal our losing record for this year. The first losing season on the channel, so that's just something to behold there, but just too many interceptions from Alex Meeks. The offense just couldn't do anything, and our defense tried their best, but just wasn't enough. No other way to say it. Alex Meeks just had a terrible game out there. 184 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 interceptions, including one that was returned for a pick 6, and he was sacked 3 times. And for Noah Hicks, he actually looked pretty good out there before he went down with being banged up. He had 45 yards on 5 for 5. Then for rushing, Casey Hutton had 15 for 85. For receiving, Cam Brzezinski, another nice game, 6 catches, 90 yards, and a touchdown. Then you had Kona Cheek, 7 for 82. And then for defense, we were led in tackles by A.J. DeVoe and Taylor Graves with 7 apiece. For sacks, we got 1 from A.J. DeVoe. And then for kicking, Larry O'Donnell hit his only kick of the day for 43 yards. Now that we've reached a point in the year where we can't have a winning record and we won't be bowl eligible, I'm going to give another quarterback a chance for Alex Meeks, and that's going to be Colby McRae. Definitely wanted it to be Noah Hicks, but he got a little banged up in the last game, so that kind of derailed that plan. Awaiting us in our next matchup will be the Ball State Cardinals with their 4-5 record and 67 team overall. Their best player is wide receiver Jabari Smith Jr. with that 90 speed, and at cornerback they have Wilswan Yates, and then they also have a right guard with Jacob Judy, who's actually injured, and then TJ Horton is their halfback, and then for the quarterback they have Keldrick Luster, a 72 overall. And that is just a beautiful throw on the corner route to his man, and it's going to be a touchdown for Ball State. And we're going to come away with an interception here. What a great jump by Caleb Myers, and he is going to cut out of there, and we are going to be in nice position here at their 40-yard line. What a great job by Caleb and the D. And here's a sack for Ball State. We were inside their 5, but they are going to push us back here and force a field goal attempt for our guy Larry O'Donnell. And Larry's going to come out here for the kick, and he is going to put it through. So after the interception, our offense is able to get a field goal to make it 7-3. And they are going to get the touchdown off the RPO. Had him held up for a second there, but he's able to fight his way through. And Ball State's going to go up 14-3. And it's going to be Brian Smith off the RPO, and it's going to be a touchdown for the Botanicals as we have a nice end-of-half drive there. Still 25 seconds left, so got to see if we can hold off Ball State from adding more, but nice positive momentum for the Botanicals here. And Casey Hutton is going to get to the outside, and that's going to be a touchdown for the Botanicals. And we're going to have our first lead of the game at 17-14. And the RPO is going to work out perfectly for them as we went for the running back. The quarterback kept it and went right up the middle on us with a huge gap. And Ball State reestablishes their lead. And it's going to be Derek Gentry right up the middle for the Botanicals, and these teams are trading the lead back and forth now as we take it 24-21. Big moment in the game here as our defense was able to get a stand on Ball State, and we're here on 3rd down and inches. They don't have any timeouts left, and we're going to go with a fullback dive for Derek Gentry, and he has to fight his way through, but he is going to get there. As the seconds tick down here, Ball State without their timeouts, we're going to take a QB kneel with Colby McRae, and we are going to seal up our very first MAC conference win here, 24-21 over Ball State. Just so proud of the Botanicals after all the rough times we've had this year, just coming together and getting this win. Colby McRae finished the day with 168 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions, and he was only sacked once. On the ground, Casey Hutton had himself a very nice day, 26 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown. Then Derek Gentry, 10 for 35 and a touchdown. For receiving, Brian Smith led us with 9 catches, 63 yards, and a touchdown. And then Parker Samuel, 6 for 55. Then for our defense, A.J. DeVoe led us with 8 tackles. On the sacks, we didn't have any today. And for interceptions, we got that one with Caleb Myers. That was a really big one for us. And then for field goal kicking, Larry O'Donnell went 1 for 1 with a 28-yarder. And for our first commitment in school history, it'll be tight end Taj Boyette, a gem guy, so very excited to have him. For some late season recruiting, DeMarcus Stock, we're trying to hold off South Carolina for him, but they have a visit this week, so very important here. And then for Elton Flanagan, he's in a recruiting battle right now with Michigan State, so see if anything happens here. We're going to face off against another 3-7 team with the Central Michigan Chippewas with their 68 team overall. Their best player is Langston Lewis, a wide receiver, and on defense it's cornerback Jayon Jackson. Then for their quarterback, they have Angel Flores, who's a pure runner guy, so definitely got to watch his feet out there. Then halfback Vaughn Blue, and we're going to see what we can do against these guys. And here's a sack for Central Michigan as we try to hit them with a shot play, and they were not biting on it. And that's going to be a touchdown for Central Michigan as they throw it over the top of us to their star receiver, and it's going to be 7-0 Central Michigan. And a big blitz by Central Michigan is going to pay off as they get another sack. Central Michigan is going to have a field goal attempt here now, and their kicker is going to split the uprights to make it 10-0. And there's a fumble on the play, and Central Michigan's going to pick it up, and their big man is going to rumble and stumble down the hash marks here, and he is going to get a fumble 6, running out of energy, but still got plenty of space to get it, as they're going to go up 17-0. I think we had Casey Hutton on that angle route, just couldn't get it to him, and it's just going to be a bit of a disaster of a play there. And another sack for Central Michigan, trying to take a shot play and not working out for us. After the sack, we get ourselves in a little bit better position for a field goal attempt, and I'm just going to take the points here from Larry O'Donnell, and he will do just that to make it 17-3. And just a little RPO play there. Their quarterback easily gets into the end zone to make it 24-3. And another sack for Central Michigan, and it's another forced fumble, but this time we recover it. And we're going to get sacked again by Central Michigan. I tried to make our primary receiver the slot guy on the left, and he was going to be wide open, but apparently we just didn't throw it. And we're going to get a sack this time and a little change of pace. After Central Michigan's put up 6 sacks so far, we get our first. And he's going to roll right into a sack, and we force the fumble, but it's scooped up by Central Michigan for a 3-yard loss on the play. It was A.J. DeVoe on the sack. Field goal attempt incoming for the Chippewas, as it's going to be a short one from the hash, and their kicker makes good work of it with a 30 and to make it 30-3. And that's going to be an interception for Central Michigan, and their man is going to have some space to return it all the way, and he will do just that to make it 37-3, and I'm just going to let this one sim out at this point. Well, we basically did nothing right in this game as we lose 51-3 to Central Michigan in an embarrassing performance. One game after our first MAC win, we come back down to earth with this one. Colby McRae had 119 yards today with an interception, and he was sacked 6 times. And then our guy Alex Meeks came back out, 31 yards and an interception. For a running game, Casey Hutton had 10 for 51. For receiving, Brock Henning with the backups had 3 for 55. And then for defense, we had A.J. DeVoe, 10 tackles, and he also had a sack. And he was joined on the sacks by Charlie Turner. And then for our kicking game, Larry O'Donnell hit his only kick, a 46-yarder. South Carolina must have had a pretty good visit because they got a big boost for DeMarcus Stock, but we're still in first place here. But Elton Flanagan has hard committed to Michigan State, so we lost out on him, unfortunately. For our final game of the season, Noah Hicks is going to get his opportunity, the freshman quarterback. He healed up after having some wear and tear damage, so see what he can do in the final game. Our final game of the year will be against the Akron Zips with a 6-5 record and 69 team overall. Nice, and their best player is halfback Jordan Gant. They also got a couple of talented receivers with Marcel Williams and Kyan Mason. Their starting quarterback, Reese Poffenbarger, is injured, so they're going to run out Braden Rago. And Casey Hutton is going to get the carry into the end zone for the Botanicals as we go up 7-0. And that's going to be considered a sack for the Botanicals as our guy gets in there. And we are going to give up this touchdown despite being in 4 quarters, and our guy was pretty much on him, but he got that separation at the end that he needed to tie up the game. And Noah Hicks is going to fire one into the end zone for the touchdown, a Kona Cheek, and the Botanicals will take the 14-7 lead. After a good stop by our defense, our offense puts it in field goal position for Larry, and Larry is going to put another one through to make it 17-7. And we're going to bring him down for a sack here. Nice job by Charlie Turner. Thanks to that sack, it's going to be a field goal attempt here for Akron as they try to pull a little closer, and they will do that to make it 17-10. And they just had a perfect play call for our play action there as they brought that guy off the edge for the sack. And it's going to be Noah Hicks taking off on the scramble, and Noah's got himself a rushing touchdown as we go up 24-10. And we just get absolutely toasted out there as they're going to have a passing touchdown here of a bunch of yards. And I believe that's Kyan Mason on that. And we're going to get the sack here. It's going to be Charlie Turner again. Thought he was going to get sucked into a blocking animation, but he fought out of it and got the sack. Another field goal attempt here for the Zips, and their man is going to put it straight on through to make it 24-20. And Derek Gentry is going to get that ball just over the line, and I keep wanting to say the Piranhas, the Botanicals, excuse me, are going to be up 31-20. Trying to make it a 2-touchdown game here with Larry O'Donnell on the field goal attempt, and he is going to put it up, and it'll be good to make it 34-20. And that's going to be considered a sack for the Botanicals, our 4th on the day. And there's a touchdown for Akron as they're going to pull within 1 score here. From the 10 now, those fresh set of downs and 17 seconds, they send their man in motion. Their man is going to drop back, survey, and he is going to try and scramble. But we had the spy out there, and we're going to get the sack with Dalton Marcock. And now the clock is going to run, see if it goes all the way. 2-1, and that will do it here. And the Brooklyn Botanicals are just going to survive there on a very, very heated comeback from Akron on that last drive. We're going to win it 34-27, getting our 2nd MAC Conference win of the year and ending the season on a positive note. I thought Noah Hicks showed a lot of promise today with 156 yards, 1 touchdown, and no interceptions, and he was sacked once. Then for our running game, Casey Hutton was absolutely massive. 31 carries, 228 yards, and a score. Noah Hicks 4 for 33 and a score. And Derek Gentry 4 for 18 and a touchdown. For receiving, Parker Samuel had 6 for 57. And then we got Kona Cheek with 2 for 4 and a touchdown. For our defense, we had 8 tackles from Ben Parker and also from Taylor Graves and A.J. DeVoe. For sacks, we got 2 today from Dalton Marcock and 2 more for Charlie Turner and another one for Anthony Acker. And then for our kicking game, Larry O'Donnell was 2 for 2 with a long of 33. With the regular season over, we have a verbal commitment from quarterback DeMarcus Stock. And change that verbal commitment to a hard commitment for quarterback DeMarcus Stock. For an update on the MAC Conference Championship, Western Michigan blew out Ohio 30-3. As you can see, we struck out on 2 of the goals we had for this season with those turnovers and trying to average at least 20 points per game. Still have that goal of getting into the top 25 in the next 5 seasons, so see if we have better luck with that next season. We're going to take a look at the Heisman Trophy ceremony now, a new addition to CFB 27 that I think is pretty cool, so we'll see how the guys stack up to each other. You got John Mateer from Oklahoma putting up some solid numbers there. Joining John will be Texas A&M quarterback Marcel Reed. Dante Moore makes an appearance here as another guy up for the Heisman Trophy. And finally, you're going to have Missouri running back Ahmad Hardy, who is just super exciting to use in this game, so would be interesting to see who's going to win this. And now the moment we're waiting for, the winner of the Heisman Trophy will be John Mateer from Oklahoma, so congratulations to him. And maybe one day we can have a Brooklyn Botanical in this spot. And there's John celebrating here with the Heisman Trophy, just taking it in his hands and showing it for everybody. So far we've only signed the 2 players with Taj Boyette and DeMarcus Stock, so looking to see what their dev traits are here. You got impact on Taj, and for DeMarcus he's also impact. We have to replace both coordinators going into the off-season, and I don't want to spend any NIL on it, so we're just going with a couple low-level guys with Carl Thomas and Jason McClung. Jason McClung has become our next defensive coordinator, and just going ahead here, seeing if we got our offensive coordinator, and we did. We have our guy Carl Thomas. In the college football playoff, the Miami Hurricanes took down the South Carolina Gamecocks to win the national championship. For our season stats, Alex Meeks had 1,836 yards, 9 touchdowns, and 14 interceptions. And then for our running game, Casey Hutton got himself over 1,000 yards, 214 carries, 1,079 yards, and 4 touchdowns. For receiving, Kona Cheek led us, 44 catches, 389 yards, and a touchdown. Then for our defense, A.J. DeVoe led us in tackles with 89, Dalton Marcock with 86. And then for sacks, we were led by 3 with A.J. DeVoe and also Dalton Marcock. For interceptions, we got 1 each for Donnie Holmberg and Soma Alawa. And then over here, any defensive touchdowns? Yes, with A.J. DeVoe, that big one against Penn State. And then for pass deflections, 3 each for A.J. DeVoe and Soma Alawa. And then forced fumbles, we got a couple. We had AJ DeVoe, Soma, and also Alex Vierling. And we also had a recovery from AJ DeVoe on that aforementioned defensive touchdown. And no blocks. And we had that, I thought we did have a safety. I guess nobody got credited with it, but whatever. Then for Larry O'Donnell on his kicking season, he was perfect with 16 for 16 and a long of 51. Looking at the guys who are at risk of leaving, everybody's a normal dev trait, so really not willing to spend any NIL on them. Just want to save it all for transfer portal and just trying to get better players in here. We ended up with a verbal commitment from Mike linebacker John Iwabema, a 2-star. We only had 2 persuasions, and we were successful on them with halfback Addison Younger, and then down here we had Taylor Graves, who's returning. A couple of guys to note that are leaving are Caleb Myers at corner and Cam Przinski at wide receiver, along with Parker Samuel, the tight end. And I think Wes Henningsen is also going to leave, so that's a big loss, as well as Charlie Turner. Couple of guys who are graduating that we'll miss will be kicker Larry O'Donnell, who is very solid for us, and Dalton Marcock, who is the man in the middle on defense. We have a little extra NIL to work with now as we've gotten up to 580 in total. With the transfer portal, I'm really trying to prioritize guys who are underclassmen, and the head of that is going to be Christian Gass, a right edge. And then below him, we got wide receivers Jerome Bettis Jr. and RJ Mosley. And then we got a couple of 2-star guys, mostly on the offensive line here. John Iwabema has changed now to a hard commitment, so nice to see him sign. Another commitment as we enter the final week of the transfer portal with 2-star Will linebacker Colin McLeon. Now exiting the transfer portal, we have a commitment from defensive tackle Amari Britt, and joining Amari will be Jerome Bettis Jr. at wide receiver, and then another commitment for another wide receiver, RJ Mosley. And then moving right along, we got cornerback Bobby Longacre, really just a depth piece that we're trying to add. And then we got Dante Goodwin, a 1-star fullback. Needed to fill out the fullback with Derek Gentry leaving. Then we got Samuel Crawford, a left tackle. And then we got another left tackle with Keon Cox. And that's it, so we missed out on Christian Glass, unfortunately. We already know what Taj Boyette and DeMarcus Stock's development traits were, but looking at the rest of the guys, we got normal on John Iwabema. Then for Amari Britt, he's also normal. Another normal with Colin McLeon. Jerome Bettis Jr. is impact. Then RJ Mosley is normal. Then we got another normal with Keon Cox. And just looking at the rest of the guys, they're all normal. So pretty rough first recruiting class here for the Botanicals. And looking at the top classes, we're just going to go down to the MAC here to try to speed run that. And we have the 132nd best class, so it's not the worst class in the entire country, but it is certainly not one of the best. Noah Hicks is a 68 overall quarterback, and his accuracy got a nice little boost, and his throw power got to 91. I'm still debating between him and DeMarcus Stock for the quarterback position next year, but we'll see how that works out. Addison Younger went up to a 75 overall, and he's also got that silver safety valve. And Casey Hutton is a 73 overall, so he did a little work on his speed and everything. So I think Casey's probably going to be our main halfback still, but going to get Addison Younger out there for different situations. Transfer wide receiver Jerome Bettis Jr. is a 77 overall, and his quickness has met its cap at 91 speed and 90 acceleration. He also got his hands to 80 catching and did a little boost to his route running. RJ Mosley is also a 77 overall wide receiver, and his hands went up a nice little bit, and his route running is all in the green here. And he also went over to his abilities and got bronze double dip. Sam linebacker Taylor Graves will be one of our better defensive players next season at 72 overall, and his pass coverage got to 81 zone, and his run stopping got to a pretty okay spot, and his IQ went up as well. Anthony Acker is our other 72 overall linebacker, and he's the guy in the middle at the Mike linebacker. His awareness and play rec went up a little bit, as well as his run stopping to 83 tackle and 88 pursuit. We have officially arrived at the end of year one for the Brooklyn Botanicals. Obviously, it's not what we wanted with a 4-8 record, but we did have a huge win over Penn State that we can hang our hat on and see where we can build from there for the Botanicals. I'm excited to head into year two to see how we've grown, see if we can try to really improve our team, and see what we can do in recruiting, because that was probably a little subpar on my part, so we'll see if we can get that going next year. I'll see you guys in the next video.